All right, so this was an interesting reading that I just did. I found it particularly interesting for me on a personal level because I've done readings for interesting people who have interesting claims before, especially related to cosmic disclosure on Gaia TV. And I was trying to figure out more like, should I believe what they're saying or should I not? And I had done those after watching the videos and after seeing them and knowing some stuff about them, so I kind of had a preconceived idea already in my head, which hopefully didn't influence my reading too much. So this time I decided, before I watched this new guy who was called Tim Tactical Advisor from a new episode that I hadn't seen yet, I hadn't seen him at all, I decided to try and do a blind reading. I guess you could call it a blind reading in the sense that I've never seen this guy. I don't know anything about him. I only just know that he's a new insider, as they called it on the episode that I was about to watch. And before I watched it, I decided I would ask my other psychic friend to also do a little reading on it alongside me, and that way we could compare notes and then watch the episode afterwards. So some people have also asked me before, like, oh, so how accurate are you? And I'm like, I'm not gonna say that I'm 100% accurate. That everything I say is always definitely 100%, but I just don't know what to say. But so maybe this will help people understand kind of what to expect as far as accuracy goes. And I'm going to be very honest here about everything that I said and how it turned out after I watched the episode and actually saw the person. So I do have some notes about what it was to keep me on track so I remember. So I'm going to go ahead and open those up and go through it all. So when I was first tuning into this person, Tim Tactical Advisor, I was initially getting a very kind of stern stern face, kind of almost reminded me of like the Marlboro man, like, oh, not that he was like country western, but kind of like that serious, like kind of male manly type of vibe to him. But more specifically, a vibe of being very serious and wanting to be taken seriously as well. Like there's this demand for people to take him seriously, and I was getting kind of like this militant kind of or like doing labor type of activity for his job. Um, and so I'll go back to when I actually watched the episode. So when I watched the actual episode, this guy is kind of stern-ish. I mean, no, he's not stern, but I mean, he's kind of, he definitely has a very serious kind of analytical vibe to him, I would say, from watching the video. And his face does kind of resemble the face that I was seeing. I don't claim to be a remote viewer and see things exactly as they are, but I do claim to read the energy of things. But I've been testing this out more and more, kind of trying remote viewing type of stuff. And so I was pretty close on the face, but it was a little bit less like rugged. It was a little less rugged than I had been seeing it. But besides for that, it was very similar. Um, As far as the militant and labor aspect of it, I didn't necessarily get. In the video, he didn't really say that he was doing militant type of activities or labor so much, but it was like working with aliens, many different kinds of aliens, is what he's saying. And based off of my reading of him before I watched the episode, I already thought that he was telling the truth. Um, and so I do believe him on this, that he's saying there are many different aliens he's worked with, and he's kind of working with communication, and some of them have been in conflict. He did mention reptilians being kind of an issue, but then like not necessarily like all reptilians are bad or anything like that. That's not what he's saying. But he was also trying to open dialogue with them and communicate and come to agreements and things like that as well. Keep in mind, if you get deep into the literature, there's many different types of reptilians. There's the Draco reptilians, there's the other types that are less bad, if you want to call it that, towards humans, that is. But what he was saying was that he's kind of more like the person who connects with them. So, I was a little bit off on the idea that he was kind of militant and labor. I don't know, maybe he is, and maybe I'll watch more, I'll figure out more about him, and maybe that will be the truth. But as far as the video goes so far, I didn't see that being quite accurate. However, I did pick up on something about him being 13 years old or so, or roughly around the age of 13, and there being some sort of masculine influence. Him being kind of, to himself, a very individualistic type of male energy here, and I was kind of getting that he was maybe more pushed from his father to kind of go the path that he did, and that might be related to him being in these government programs. And by the way, he was in a German government program, working with ETs. And I got the sense that he started doing this around the age of 13 or so, and he stopped around the age of 30. Now, after watching the episode, I don't know if he actually stopped around the age of 30. He might actually still be in it right now, but he does look to be roughly 30, maybe early 40s, I don't know. But he does look to be about the age of 30, so maybe what I was picking up on was more that he's been doing it until about the age of 30, but he's still 30 years old. But either way, what I got was 13 or so years old to the age of approximately 30. What I did get from him that I do like about him is that I was getting the sense that he doesn't know everything. And this is the reading, back to the reading, not the video. I didn't get anything confirmed in the video about his age, so I have yet to confirm that or not. But, or if he started when he was around, like, kind of like a teenager type of age. But what I was reading was that he doesn't know everything, and he kind of takes this I don't know stance. And that, for me, that's a good thing, because a lot of people like to connect dots and act like they know more than they do for show. I kind of get that from Emery Smith, who was in it, interviewing him, and I do get some red flag type of stuff from him, but at the same time, I have read him before, and I do just want to say that I do get that there is also some truth to what he's saying. So I think, like, way back in the past, I think there's some truth to what he's saying. But I also get that he may be kind of just, like, playing with people, maybe connecting dots. That's the way that I saw it when I read it in the past. It's like connecting dots that aren't necessarily real, Anyways, back to Tim, the tactical advisor. I did get the sense that he was very grounded and that he was telling the truth. And that it's not so much theoretical, he's speaking from direct experience. And this is what I was reading before I watched the video. I was also getting that he could potentially, I was like, so like, what aspect of this could be inaccurate about what he is saying to the public? And what I was getting in my reading was that he could potentially have a perspective or an opinion on something that is just how he views the situation, that potentially could just be, his perception of something. Although I didn't get that he was lying about anything, I got that he was telling the truth about this, but that just like everyone doesn't know everything, and everything on some level is relative to your perspective on what you're seeing, and what you're seeing versus what maybe you're not seeing too. So I did get that as a sense. So this is a very good positive sign for me that I can put some faith in this and what he's saying. When I tuned in more to what this, like, why is he here? Like, who did somebody send him? Is he working by himself? I got that what I saw was like 3 or 4 kind of like white, kind of balding, older men, and like wearing all black, you know, kind of like Secret Service type people, but like not Secret Service, but like something beyond that, who were only kind of giving him certain information from the higher up, and like exposing him to certain information that was necessary for him to be exposed to in order for him to do his job, but then not necessarily showing him everything. And this is kind of intentionally done so that he can, you know, not share the things that are bad, because the things that are bad to them, that is, because those could come back to haunt them, such as people having a revolt, or like a revolution, and like, you know, kill the masters, or like kill the people in power, like bring down the economy, and then just totally crushing the whole system to the point where we go back to the Dark Ages and we lose our ability to manufacture our goods and our technology, and all of a sudden it's like we're not cavemen quite, but you know what I mean. We lose our economy, we lose our everything, falls apart, and everything we've kind of built ourselves up to, this civilization, kind of goes back because we kind of like self-destruct, which is possible. So I was getting was that they're not disclosing all the information. They're not letting him know this information so that he won't be able to pass it on intentionally. That's what I was reading, at least. But then they're also allowing him to disclose certain information. And I saw an image of them, like a metaphor, sort of. It could be literal, but I take it more metaphorically. Could be both. I saw them like in a submarine, and it was like they were looking up at, and so this is where maybe I was like seeing it through my own filter in my head, you know. I was seeing it, they were looking at the United States. So he said that he was in a German program. So maybe I just saw it as the United States because that's where I live, and so it's relevant to me. And they're like in a submarine looking at the United States. Maybe that is literally what's going on. I don't know. But anyways, what I saw was them looking at the United States and looking at society, culture, etc. It was probably more of like a worldwide thing than just the United States, but that's the way that I saw it in my head, symbolically at least, the image that it was presented to me. And it was like, I don't know, I was seeing like little eyeballs, like indicating, it was kind of like almost humorous, like kind of like a comic book, like little eyeballs in the ocean, like kind of looking out, and like looking at the country, looking at society, civilization, and steering it in a certain direction, and actually wanting some of this information to be released for the purpose of progressing with technology and the economy. So that's what I was reading. Now I want to follow this up because I also was reading side by side with another person who said some interesting stuff as well, and I'll just go through that very quickly here before I'll get back to what I actually saw in the episode and how that relates to what I was reading. So this other person was seeing kind of like this light yellow color, and they were describing it as kind of like this mastery of kind of holding their space, so to speak, with the color yellow, and not allowing it to become like white to the point where it loses its color and kind of becomes like a astral experience, but able to maintain it within this three-dimensional realm. And I don't mean 3D like that's lower than 5D and that's bad. That's not what I mean. We're supposed to be here in this 3D realm. What we're supposed to do is anchor in the higher realms and have it simultaneously. So don't think I'm saying like this is lower vibe. It's not about lower, it's about expansion, it's about more vibe all at once. Experiencing all of it at once. So this is about him being able to kind of, how do I explain this? Be present, be real, and manifest things into this physical plane. And be grounded in reality here and now. And so it's about like this very high vibration that's just as high as you can get with that specific color before it's like you're just in la la land and you're no longer relevant and you're just kind of like out of body, but like kind of like a zombie as far as your physical body in reality. And so he was able to really kind of meet this level of that. That's what this person that wants to be anonymous was saying. So they also said, to my surprise, something about being around the age of 11 to 13 years old. That was coming to them. And something about them kind of being like boyish type activities, interested in sports and that sort of thing. And then the thing that was the most interesting was at the very end of it, they're saying they got that he was saying like, this is a test. And like, as if it was like repeat, this is a test. Like it's like a big deal. Like this is a test. And having to do with him going on Cosmic Disclosure show. So, and this is where it's interesting. Right at the beginning of the first episode with him, I've only watched the first episode, but he says that him going on Disclosure is a test. And he is specifically seeing how it goes, seeing how the public reacts to him, and if it's in a positive way, then he will disclose more information, whether that be through Cosmic Disclosure or some other Gaia TV thing or somewhere else, I don't know. But that's what he was saying. So that was pretty interesting to find that out right away. He also said at the beginning of, like right after he said that, which validated that reading, then he immediately validated something I read, which was that he was chosen, like he's not specifically working for some organization. I take that, forget that I just said that. I don't know what that means. But that he was saying that he was actually being used, those were his words, on the show. He said, I'm being used to disclose certain information, but hold back other information. So he said, I was actually told to share some information. And specifically, how there's some information he's not allowed to say. And I think it goes deeper than that. There's probably information that he's not exposed to himself, but there's also information that he's not allowed to say to the public because they don't want to have backlash from the public, obviously, towards what would probably be not just governments, but also major corporations that participate in these activities. So anyways, that's my reading on Tim the Tactical Advisor. Just maybe a little bit more about what he says. Just if you don't have Cosmic Disclosure, you don't want to pay for the thing, I'll just kind of briefly describe just the gist of what he's talking about, and he was talking about some. Oh yeah, and this is related to the other thing that was read about the high frequency, and he was saying how he's helped ET beings of many different kinds that may not even necessarily be three-dimensional, in the sense that they could be more of an energetic presence, like an energy, that he's helped them actually, him and other people have helped them actually transcend to a higher dimensional level, and that's pretty interesting. So he's definitely aware of the energy and the transcension, or the ability to transcend, which is also very similar to what was being read with the yellow light. Let me think, what else came up in this? He did say in the first episode at least once, he said, I don't know. Like he's not claiming to know everything. He's not connecting dots. He's not being theoretical. He's just saying, this is what my experience is. He was asked, what if he's being presented with information that is being used as false information intentionally, to have him intentionally spread false information? He said, well, that he doesn't know for sure, but he did have a good reason for why it was out of the ordinary, the way that he came across information that would be really abnormal for that information to be released in that way. So it was good reason to believe that it's probably accurate. Anyways, I'm not going to describe the whole episode to you, but he talks a lot about there being many different types of ETs, physical, non-physical, and how they have different expectations, how sometimes certain ET species may walk into a bedroom where people are sleeping and watch them and not think that that's weird, because for them that's not weird. And then if the people were to wake up and see them and get scared and freak out, that they'd be freaked out, because they'd be like, why are these people freaked out? And so it's just like these weird cultural differences, which would be maybe not just it's a cultural, but it's like interdimensional culture, or I mean interplanetary cultural differences. So cultural differences on a whole new level, and just the communication barriers between them. So that's what he was talking about. He seems like a very interesting person. I think I trust this guy, especially because I believed him based off of what I was reading before I saw him, or knew anything about him, and most of what I said was pretty damn spot on. I got some definite validations on what I was reading so far, and I personally believe him, so just thought I'd put that out there. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this interesting, don't forget to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you like it for the YouTube algorithms. If you would like a private reading, you can always contact me on my website, which I will post below this video. And thanks for watching, and have a great day.